Hello dear students, welcome back. This question is from GATE 2018 exam. You need to find the output of this program. So let's start executing it. Now always the execution of a program will begin from the main function. That means this line will be executed. So it is a function call and corresponding to each and every function call, a activation record has to be pushed onto the stack. So when this main function is called, a activation record will be pushed onto the stack. Suppose this is that activation record. Now first line of this main function is trying to declare two variables, str1 and str2. Both of these are local variables that are local to main function and they are pointers. So str1 is a pointer to some character, str2 is also a pointer to some character. Okay. So suppose this is str1 and str2. Okay, now see, str1 is address of some character. It will contain the address of some character. Which character? It will be the first character of this string, that is h. Okay, so str1, it will contain the address of this h. Like this. Okay, str2 will contain the address of this b, like this. See, hi and bye, these two strings, they are string constants because they are written in double quotes. Now whenever you write any string in double quote, it will be allocated in read only section. Suppose this is the read only section, both of the strings will be allocated here and automatically they will be null terminated even if you haven't written null character in ending of these strings. Okay, now these local variables, they point to h and b respectively. Let us see what is the next line. In next line, you are trying to call a function named fun1 and you are passing these variables str1 and str2 as an argument. Now this is function fun1. It will be called str1. It is a pointer that contains some address. Okay. Here also you are declaring a pointer to receive that address. What is the address contained in str1? str1 contains address of h. Okay, so you are passing address of h to this variable that is s1. I am writing h here. Okay, it will contain the address of h and parallelly this one will contain the address of this character b. Okay, now see, this is a function call. For every function call, there will be an activation record that is pushed onto the stack. Suppose this is that activation record. All the local variables of new function will be allocated there. So s1 and s2, they will be allocated here. This is s1. This is s2. Okay. Now see, both of these, they are pointers to characters. We are passing address of h here. So s1, it will also point to this h only. S1 points to hi and S2 points to bye and specifically to the first characters of these two strings respectively. Okay. Now let us see what happens when you execute this function fun1. So we are trying to declare one more character, rather one more pointer to a character that is named temp. So this is the variable temp and to this we are assigning whatever is saved in S1. S1 will contain some address. That same address is saved in temp. Okay. So S1 contains this address. If you save this same address in temp, now temp will also point to this h only. Okay. So temp also now points to this h. Okay. Now see, S1 is equal to S2. This means whatever is saved in S2, that same address has to be saved in S1. S2, in this, you have saved the address of B. Okay. Now this same address has to be saved in S1 also. Whatever is present in S2, save it in S1. Okay. So S1 has the address of, S2 has the address of B that has to be saved in S1. That means now this will start pointing here. Okay. like this. And in next line, whatever is saved inside temp, the value is the address. Okay, temp is a pointer, so it will contain some address. It contains address of this h. That same address has to be saved in s2. That means this variable s2 will now point here. Okay, so you can just see this, it will be erased and it will start pointing to this h. But the thing is, now this function will end. Okay, this function will end. It means s1, s2 and temp. These three will be deleted. Okay, see, this line when it will be executed, s2 will start pointing here, but immediately the function will end and all of these three variables, they will be deleted. That means I have to erase all of this because the activation record will be popped as the function has ended. Okay. Now see, executing this function had no effect on both of these variables. Okay. That means they are still pointing to the same locations only. Now next line is printf %s str1, str2. Whenever you write %s in printf, it means that you will pass some address here. Okay. And str1 is address because str1 is of pointer type. Pointers contain addresses. Now this printf function will assume that starting from this address, there is a string present. Okay. So whatever is pointed by this address, start printing it. It is h. Then next character is I. Then null character. That means the string has ended. Okay. So str1 is printed for this %s. For this %s, whatever is present at this address, printed. It is bye, then null character. Okay. bye and null character will not be printed. Okay. It is to indicate that string has ended now. Now next line is a function call to a function named fun2. This is function fun2. To this function, you are passing and str1, and str2. And is the address of operator. So this symbol, ampersand symbol, it is called the address of operator. The address of str1, the address of str2 is passed. See, let us just analyze with some numbers. Suppose this address is address number 100. This address is address number 200. This is suppose 700. And this is 800. Okay. At address 700, you have declared a variable called str1. Okay. So this is a variable called str1. It is a pointer. That means this variable will contain some address. The address which is present inside this box is 100. Okay. So at address 700, you have saved another address, which is this. Okay. So now you are trying to pass the address of str1. That means you are passing 700. Okay. So this s1, it will get 700. Parallelly, s2, it will get 800. Okay. Now see, whenever a function is called, you have to push an activation record to the stack. Suppose this is that activation record. Inside this activation record, local variables will be declared. So s1 and s2 are local variables of this function fun2. They will be declared. s1 and s2. Like this. Now see, s1 is a pointer to character. s1 is a pointer to character. Okay. Parallelly, s2 is also a pointer to character. Here we are passing the address of str1. So this s1, it will point here. Okay. Like this. s2, it will point here like this. Because here you have passed 700. So s1 will get this address 700. So inside this box, 700 is saved. Okay, I think you are getting it. Yeah, here I will like to add a point. See, s1 is a pointer to character. So s1 points to a pointer which is further a pointer to character. See, what is str1? str1 is a pointer to character and s1 points to str1. So s1 points to a pointer which is a further pointer to a character. Parallelly, it is similar for s2 also. Okay. Now let us see what is the first line in this function fun2. First line is trying to declare a variable called temp which is a pointer to character. Okay. Now a variable temp is declared tmp. This is a pointer to character. S1 and S2, they are pointers to character. Okay. Now this variable is initialized with this value. What is this thing? Let us analyze it. S1 is a pointer, so S1 will contain some address. Writing star with S1 means take the value present at that address. First of all, let us see what is address S1. S1 is this box. It contains the address of this str1. Means S1 contains 700. So writing a star means take the value that is present at address 700. This is address 700. At this address, the value present is again an address. Which address is present here? The address of this h. So this h address is assigned to tmp. tmp will now point to this address. Okay, I am drawing an arrow. Like this. See, I am repeating once again. S1 is the address. Writing star means take the value present at that address. So S1 is this address 700. S1 contains 700. Take the value present at address 700. It is again another address. So this box contains address of h. This address of h is assigned to temp. Okay, so temp also now points to h. Now listen carefully. This temp, it is a pointer to character. From here also you are getting a hint that temp can point to this or this or this or this or this. Temp cannot point to any one of these because they are pointers. But temp can contain address of a character only. Okay. And these are the only characters that we have allocated till now. Okay. Anyways, let's see the next line. Next line says, whatever is the value present at address S2, S2 is this address. What is the value present here? The value present here is again an address. That is address of B. So this means address of B. This address of B has to be assigned to this. What is this thing? This is whatever is the value present at address S1. So this is S1. S1 is an address that contains 700. So S1 contains 700. S1 means 700. Writing a star means take the value at that address 700. At address 700, what is the value? The value is address of this h. Okay. So at that value, you have to save address of B. That means here you are trying to save address of this B. Okay. So this will now be updated and it will start pointing to this B. Okay, so str1 will now start pointing to this character B. If you haven't understood any point, just rewind the video. I have carefully explained each and everything. Okay, now let's move on to the next line. Next line says, tmp is assigned to this. What is tmp? tmp is a pointer, so it will contain some address. That means you are assigning some address to this. First of all, let me erase this. tmp is some address. What address is tmp? tmp points to h. So address of h. This is address of h. It has to be assigned to this LHS. What is LHS? S2 itself is the address. So S2 contains this address 800. And writing star S2 means value present at address 800. So what is the value present here? The value is this. Okay. So we are trying to update this value. It is written in left side. So you are trying to update the value present at address S2. S2 contains this address. That means here you want to update. So what is the new value that has to be saved here? It will be the address of H. That means this S2 will now start pointing to H. Okay. Like this. Now see what will happen. Now this function will end. That means all the local variables of this function will be deleted because this activation record has to be popped from the stack. So let me just delete all of these variables. Now see, we have executed this line, and now next line that has to be executed is this print statement. It is trying to print str1 and then str2. str1 is bye, so print it. Then str2, it points to this address hi. So starting from this address, keep on printing characters until you encounter a null character. That is hi. So the output of this program will be hi, bye, bye, hi. Okay.